Ever feel like EV charging? It's a bit of a gamble. Like, will I find a charger? Will it be working? Will I need 5 different apps just to plug in?
It's interesting, right? Because for EVs, charging, well, that's a huge part of the ownership experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
And car companies are realizing they need to do more than just hand you the keys and say, good luck.
They're definitely stepping up their game. And today we're diving into Nissan's latest move, their brand new Nissan Energy Charge Network. They're making some pretty big promises, especially for their Ariya SUV, but we're here to cut through the marketing jargon, really see what it's all about. So, what exactly is this Nissan Energy Charge Network?
So imagine this. Instead of building a whole bunch of their own charging stations, which takes time and money, Nissan's decided to partner up, create this network.
Okay, so they're teaming up, but who are these partners? Anyone we'd know?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Big names in the charging world. Think
Yeah.
Electrify America, Shell Recharge, ChargePoint, even EVgo. They're bringing together all these existing networks.
Ah, smart move. That way they can launch faster and have much wider coverage right from the start. But how does this actually work for, the everyday EV driver?
Seamlessly, that's the goal, or at least that's what they're saying. Picture this. You're cruising along in your shiny new Ariya, and that battery indicator starts flashing.
Uh-oh, range anxiety setting in.
Right. But instead of panicking, you just open up an app.
Let me guess. The MyNISSAN app.
Exactly. The same one you use for all your other car stuff.
Yeah.
Remote start, checking tire pressure, all that. And boom, right there on the map, you see all the compatible chargers near you.
Okay, but that's pretty standard, right? Most charging apps do that. This has got to be more than just a list of locations.
Oh, it's way more. We're talking real-time availability. No more guessing if a charger is actually working when you get there. Plus, you can filter by charging speed, see the pricing information.
And here's the clincher, I bet. No more carrying around a dozen different membership cards or fumbling with multiple apps.
You got it. Your MyNISSAN app, it becomes your one-stop shop for everything charging. You find your charger, plug in, pay, all within the same app.
That's slick. Like having a personal charging concierge, it definitely sounds like a game changer, especially for those new to the whole EV world. And there's always a but, right? What about those drivers who've been with Nissan since the early days of electric? So this Nissan Energy Charge Network sounds pretty slick, especially for those sliding into a new Ariya. But what about those who've been rolling with Nissan's EV journey from the get-go? The Leaf owners out there, where do they fit into this picture?
Well, that's where things get interesting, right? Because right now, this fancy new network, it's Ariya exclusive.
Ah, so it's like the VIP lounge of EV charging.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, Leaf owners, they still have the Nissan Connect app, helps them find charging stations, no problem. But it's a bit like using a paper map when everyone else has GPS. You'll get there, but the experience, not quite as seamless.
Definitely a noticeable difference. So, reading between the lines here, what's the strategy? Is this Nissan saying, hey, new car, new perks, or are we seeing a broader trend across the auto industry?
It's strategic, that's for sure. I mean, think about it, this new charging experience. It's a big selling point for the Ariya, especially for those who are, a little hesitant about making the jump to electric.
Makes sense, right? Attract those new buyers, sweeten the deal a bit. But it does make you wonder, what about the folks who were already sold on the EV idea? The ones who took the plunge early on?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just a Nissan thing either. More and more car companies are realizing they can't just leave EV charging up to chance or to these third-party networks. They need to be more involved, more in control of that whole ecosystem.
It's like they're building their own, walled gardens, like what Apple did with iPhones in the App Store. You're kind of locked in, but it's designed to be so smooth, so convenient, you don't even mind.
Exactly. But speaking of smooth transitions, we got to talk about the elephant charging station in the room. Or should I say the Tesla in the room.
Can't avoid it forever. Their supercharger network, it's the gold standard for a lot of folks.
Right. And Nissan knows it. They just announced they'll be offering an NACS adapter for the Ariya.
Meaning
Ariya owners will soon be able to plug right into Tesla's supercharger network.
So Ariya drivers, they'll be joining the supercharger party soon. Smart move for Nissan, right? Why build it all yourself when you can tap into a network that's already known for its reliability, its speed?
Exactly. And it kind of signals this shift, right? Tesla's charging connector, that NACS port. It's looking more and more like it could become the industry standard, at least here in North America. In fact, Nissan's even said that from 2025 on, all their new EVs, they'll have that NACS port built right in. No more adapters needed.
So does that mean we're all basically hitching our wagons to the Tesla way of doing things?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, on the one hand, Having a single standard, a universal connector. Sounds pretty great, right? No more adapter headaches, more charging options for everyone.
Definitely sounds simpler.
Right. But then there's the other side of the coin. What happens if one company, even one as innovative as Tesla, what if they end up controlling that whole charging ecosystem? Does that stifle innovation down the road? Do we end up with a monopoly? Those are questions worth considering.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. But stepping back for a second, all of this, the networks, the connectors, it really comes down to one thing, doesn't it? For EVs to really take off, I mean, really become mainstream, we need a charging infrastructure that's, well, rock solid.
Couldn't agree more. And it's not just about quantity, right? It's got to be reliable. Imagine if your local gas station, it was a total crapshoot whether they actually had gas that day or if they only let you fill up between certain hours.
Talk about range anxiety.
Exactly. We need EV charging to be at least as convenient, as dependable as gassing up, if not more so. That's the bar.
Absolutely. And while Nissan's press release, it paints a pretty rosy picture, there are always questions, right? The stuff they don't tell you right away.
Transparency, that's key. Like, how much is this going to cost? Will area owners have to pay extra for access to this network, or is it baked into the price of the car? And what about those L-Leaf owners? Any plans to bring them into the fold, give them a comparable experience?
Yeah, gotta keep those early adopters happy. But maybe the biggest question, the one we won't have an answer to for a while, is will it actually live up to the hype? This new network, this push towards NACS, will it deliver on that promise of a truly seamless EV charging experience?
Only time will tell, but hey, anything that makes EV charging easier, more accessible, I'm all for it. It's a step in the right direction. What's important is that we, the drivers, the potential buyers, we keep asking those tough questions. Push for transparency, make sure this EV future, it benefits everyone, not just those who can afford the latest and greatest.
Well said. It seems Nissan's making some bold moves in the EV charging game, at least for their Ariya drivers. But this whole thing, it really gets you thinking about the bigger picture, doesn't it? A future of charging infrastructure, the role car companies are going to play. Will we see one standard rule them all? Will it be driven by innovation or, corporate strategy? And will it be enough to convince the masses to ditch gas for good? What do you think? Head over to our website, find us on social media. Let's keep this conversation going. We want to hear from you. Until next time, happy charging.